Hey guys, Civilord here, back again with another action figure review. Today I'll be taking a look at the Masters of the Universe Origins Deluxe Mossman. My personal favorite heroic warrior, brought to us by the fine folks over at Mattel. And if you ain't sick of my Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson thing every time I say Mattel in the beginning of these reviews, well, you're not going to like the next, probably 10 to 15 plus reviews I'm going to be doing, because it's going to be a Masters of the Universe marathon for a while. So get used to it there, buddy. That said, this is unfortunately a Walmart exclusive. Ugh. But thankfully, I got connections. So shout out to the local friend who shall not be named for privacy reasons for hooking this guy up. You know, we can't always make it to good old Wally World here at the Overlord Productions household. So it's nice to have local buddies and buddies online to help you find stuff, especially when it's a pain in the neck to find, because Walmart. And if you don't collect the DC Multiverse Gold Label exclusives, you might not know that feeling. But I not only do that, I collect the Masters of the Universe stuff as well. So anytime there's a Walmart exclusive, it's kind of a pain right in the nads to get a hold of them. But at the end of the day, I got them. I'm happy with them. Not really happy with the price. This thing cost $40 freaking, but you know, so did Lady Slither, and I have mixed opinions about that as well. So, getting into the meat and taters of this review, good old Mossman does come with a mini comic, and I could tell that this was his because the corners are a little bent on it. So it's not in mint condition, but there you go. The back has nothing. You get the Masters of the Universe logo, in case you forgot what toy line this is. Or you couldn't read it on the front. I'm not going to show you what's inside, though, because you need to get your own. And even if it is hard to find, you still need to get your own. That's just how I roll. Now, I will tell you, the yellow armor was packaged separately. And had they packaged it on him, I think they might have been able to shrink the box and save me a few bucks. But it is what it is. But I left that on him for all extensive purposes, and the fact that it was a pain right in the nads to get it on him in the first place, because the flocking kind of adds an extra layer. And while I don't mind a nice and snug and tight fit when it comes to MOTU armor, I was a little worried about damaging the flocking. But unlike the Mythic Legion's Bryophytus, this isn't the Charlie Brown Christmas Special Christmas Tree scenario where you pick it up and it flakes off like instantly, and then you have to have your dad come in with the vacuum cleaner and clean your freaking floor off because there's half your figure on the floor. Yeah, we don't have that here, thank goodness. So Mattel, they do the flocking right. Four Horsemen, I love you, but that kind of stunk. That said, Mossman does come with his trusty club, beat you upside the head with, as well as a friggin' ball and chain. Well, kind of. This isn't chain, as it is more so a tether of some kind, or a, you know, a rope maybe. Which this is reused from the Big Head figure, which I have not reviewed yet, but I plan to someday, because I do have it. Shout out to my buddy Evil Villain for the hookup on that one. He also comes with an extra grip hand for the left side to hold that mace. I will tell you, the hand is a little tough to pull out, but I would not advise using heat on this figure because you could knock the flocking off. That might actually do it. I don't know. I didn't try it, and I was a little worried bending the knees on this guy because they were tight out of box, but thankfully I got them to move without mucking them up. So I guess that's a plus, right? Speaking of flocking, he does come with this alt head, which we saw in the LOP Beastman, which I unfortunately did not dig out for comparison, so my apologies in advance for that. But this head is not flocked, and I kind of wanted to use this head because I like how savage it is. Really, I'd just like to have the OG LOP Beastman from PowerCon, but that figure is mad expensive, so that's not going to happen. So for now, I just have Mossman with the default head. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. This is how he's going to be displayed. I'm going to display him with both weapons. There you go. So, taking a closer look at Mossman. Feels like a freaking carpet. Which is awesome. I literally am so stoked They finally gave us Moss Man. He's one of the coolest Evil Warriors. I got his vintage figure, which is also in storage. So again, my apologies for that. I never claimed to be, you know, the top dog when it came to this YouTube review game. So you should know what you're getting here at Overlord Productions by now. It's a free, low-budget show with subpar comedy. Like, come on. That said, as far as articulation on this guy goes, he does have the double ball peg in the head. Works pretty well. It does tilt side to side and looks side to side. His shoulders go out, back, down. They rotate. He's got a elbow rotation there, elbow hinge. Thankfully, no flocking on the disc hinges, which you wouldn't want anyways. You're just knocking off trying to move it. But that kind of allows you to really get in there and get the maximum amount of posability without messing anything up. And the hands aren't flocked either, though they do have these little glaives on them, little claw thingies like Beastman had. So there was not a lot of clearance there. But his hands do rotate, they do hinge. He does have a waist twist. I will say, out of all the armor, I think the torso armor was the hardest to get on. I think I had to slip it on him from underneath and then set it over his head and neck there. Probably had to pop the head off, to be honest. But yeah, it's kind of a chore to get that on there. So, you know, word to the wise. That said, the hips do kick out. They kick back down. They kick forward and back. He does have a knee swivel and a hinge. You can hear that, right? It's got some clicky ratchets in there, which is something I wish the LOP Beastman had, because he came out in the same wave as my boy Webstore, and the knees were not the tightest at that point in the line. So hopefully they get reissues or something and we can fix that. He's got a boot cut, and he's got a hinge in the foot. Gosh, that's tight too. With a rocker. He's got peg holes at the bottom of the feet. But because of the flocking, he kind of grips onto the surface a little better than some of the other figures that aren't flocked. And, you know, the tight joints, they really do help. And you can see that I'm shaking this guy right now, and the flocking is still on there. My review set is as clean as it was when I started this review. So, love this figure. Don't love that it was a Walmart exclusive or the fact it cost $40 freaking, but, you know, I obviously justified it, sucked it up, bought it anyways, because I'm a sucker for Master of the Universe. So, what does that say as me as a person? I don't really know. I don't really care. I like this figure. It's definitely one of my top origins of the year. So, with all that being said, let's now move right along, take a look at some size comparisons. First up, here is good old Moshman alongside a couple other Masters of the Universe characters that are pretty well known for using the Fuzzy Wuzzy body mold. And come to think of it, I didn't pull them out, but I believe that Grizzlor has a Fuzzy Wuzzy body mold on his own. So it's a little different from these three here, but of course we have the OG Beastman from way back in Wave 1 of this line. And in the vintage 1980s days of Masters of the Universe, he was the first one to utilize these parts, if I'm not mistaken. I think Stratos came out a little bit later, or maybe he was in the same wave. I can't remember, but we also have Stratos, because of course he uses the same body as well. And what's funny is in the old days, I think Stratos was originally a bad guy, and Beastman was a good guy. I've seen art where Beastman's with He-Man and Man-at-Arms and Teela, and Stratos is with like Skeletor and Merman and Evil Lyn. So, kind of interesting there. That said, I think we can all agree that all three of these are way better than that lousy mini-comic Stratos, even if there is some reuse going on. So, getting them out of the way here. Set those off to the side. This, of course, would not be an Overlord Productions video without good old Brother Mandibilith from Mythic Legions, and the infamous 11 Spawn, who are, of course, not in the 5.5 inch scale, and are literally off cam. So, with all that being said, let's now move on and wrap things up some final thoughts. Overall, and aside from the fact that good old Mossman here is a godforsaken Walmart exclusive, there's no denying that this is by far one of my favorite Masters of the Universe Origins figures that has come out so far anyways. Looks like there's a few more scheduled to come out, some of which also being Walmart exclusives. Either way, he's one of my favorites of the year, as well as being one of my favorite heroic warriors, which is not something I say very often because I'm an Evil Warriors guy through and through when it comes to Masters of the Universe. What can I say? They just have cooler character designs and characters in general. Until they make them stupid, then they're kind of less cool. But, you know, that was more or less a thing in the cartoons, and we're not going to talk about that. That said, though, I will say, of all the reuses of the Beastman body mold, this is by far one of the best, if not the best one, especially when compared to that lousy mini-comic Stratos. So, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and until next time, I'll catch you guys later.